I'm sorry about that. So the Intro to NOVO webinars that we've been doing each and every Friday since the launch of our NOVO program have generally been running about a half hour. What we do is we go through just a quick 5 or 6 minute slide presentation, a little background to NOVO itself from Kennametal, and then what I'm going to do is walk you through live use cases and using the NOVO PC and tablet application live in the live meeting. I'll use a few use cases, and then I'll just open it up for some questions. So again, we usually get out of here in about a half hour, but we certainly can stay longer. I'd like it to be certainly educational and enjoyable for you today, and then get you on to your weekend. So like I said, my name is Chris Merlin. I'm the Strategic Marketing Manager here at Kennametal, also the Marketing Manager for the NOVO launch. And I'm going to tell you a little bit in the next few minutes about what has driven Kennametal to doing NOVO. So about 10 years ago, we started to see some emerging megatrends affecting our markets. I'm not sure if you guys can go on mute out there. Thank you. So about 10 years ago, we saw some trends in our market affect our customers as well as us. We call these mega trends here in marketing. But the main things we saw coming was a shortage of technical talent in both developed and developing countries due to many reasons: demographics, investment shift, so on and so forth. And we also saw this automation investment, which was making the manufacturing environment increasingly smart, more digital, and more techy, and it was creating a need at our customer base, also in our own internal operations, to revolutionize how we do business digitally, and that's really what NOVO has been all about. It's a digital transformation to address the technical talent shortage in our industry, as well as the emergence of it becoming very, very high tech. What I mean by that is, if you look dating back to the last 30 years in the machining environment, everything first became more digital, right? We moved from manual machines to tape machines to CNCs to automated and very high tech. So it's becoming 3, 4, 5, 10 axis and kind of complicated. And now we're seeing, with the emergence of virtualization and also data standards like MT Connect, the possibility to connect all these smart automated digital systems together. But the real challenge for the next 10 years in our industry is, how do you work smartly to connect all these things? You know, this is the promise to fill this technical gap, right? We know there's not enough technical people. The environment's become even increasingly complex, creating even more gaps. So how do you smartly connect all this technology together for productivity? This is really the promise of the integration of the digital factory of the future, but also the challenge. And we believe our play in NOVO can drive this. So, for example, in NOVO, by digitizing our engagement with our customer, we can change how our productivity is delivered. So in the past, our application engineers would work in the machining environment at the spindle, optimizing one operation, one spindle at a time, bringing their knowledge, which is only connected to about 3% of the cost of goods sold, but enabling a tremendous amount of productivity in terms of manufacturing equipment utilization and labor and overhead savings. So that was done very manual and very disconnected and day by day, spindle by spindle, operation by operation. Well, now with digitizing that knowledge and that input, we can help the process planner or the guy in the CAD-CAM area to integrate this knowledge in a way up front, so you get the productivity up front. It's much more deployable through the whole process plan, through the program, through the simulation, and you really get the productivity up front in the art-to-part process. So this is just one way that we envision our digital transformation from NOVO at Kennametal enabling enabling productivity in the shop of the future. So let me give you an example. If you think here's a real life example someone sent to me with they've done with our new PC and tablet application. It illustrates this. You know, the drawing on the left is a typical day in a process planner's life. You hand them it's a pump, if you will. There's tons of operations and steps to break this down into machining strategies and cutting tool solutions. And it's typically a very time-intensive process, searching through catalogs, looking for data, trying to integrate it into the process plan. And it's basically done through manual collaboration or just basic tribal knowledge. What do I know? What has worked before? So we asked, one of our teams sent this in, one of our application teams, and said, you know, before we had the new PC and tablet application, NOVO, this would have taken a 4-man team really to do this, probably about 2 days, break all this component down into steps, cutting tool recommendations, get all the feed and speed information. And we likely would have had older technology because that was our tribal technology. We wouldn't have had time to look up any spare parts, and if the customer needed the data and models to program the part, we'd have had to gone and done that as well afterwards. Well, with NOVO, the free PC application download, they were able to do this same operation setup in about 4 hours with a 4-man team. They have the latest, most productive technology, optimized feed and speed information, all the spare parts, all the assemblies, and the models. So they have everything they need to program this in their CAM in the most productive way available on the market today. So this is just one of the examples of how new digital tools can help us be more efficient, more productive, and really streamline our operations to fill that technical gap in the market. So I'm going to walk through a live demo of our PC and tablet applications, which we've launched over the last 6 months. I would tell you that that's just the beginning. What you will see coming in the spring of 2014 is the integration with the CAM environment and also tool management. So it's how do you take the labor intensity out of moving data? How do you error-proof moving data around your shop? Because let's be honest, the data around the cutting tool is valuable, or if not more valuable, in these new fancy digital CNC machines, 5-axis machines, as the cutting tool itself. And finally, just moving on into the future, if you read about Bosch's Industry 4.0 or General Electric's Internet of Things, this is really the promise of the future of manufacturing. So I hope you enjoyed a little background about why Kennametal has decided to embark on this digital transformation, and a little bit about what NOVO is all about. Now I'm going to demonstrate for you our first digital tool in our NOVO program. It's a free PC and tablet application which you can download for free from www.kennametal.com/NOVO. If you give me a second, I will open up the application. So it's a desktop or a tablet download. So you have an icon on your desktop or your tablet, and when you open it up, you're going to notice one of the first unique things about our application, which makes it a bit different. If you give it a second here, it runs a little slower when I got the live meeting software on here. So when I log into the system, it knows that it's me. So how does it know that it's me, Chris Merlin? Well, NOVO is powered by the Machining Cloud company. Their vision is to be the data interchange of the machining world, having publishers and consumers. So this application is a consumer of cutting tool data, so it allows the user to access cutting tool data and models. But you could imagine you could integrate publishers of machine tools and other suppliers in here for an integrated tool for the user to use. So it knows it's me, it's cloud enabled, and what that means is it allows me to set up a user account which uniquely identifies me. So why would I want to do this? Well, the benefit of doing this is as I use this to create my tooling solutions, I can save them in jobs, if you will. Think about these as tool lists. So I can save them as jobs, and they'll be saved in my job management here for me to access from any device anytime I want, for future use or sharing, collaboration with people. And this is pretty important because what we found when we talk to process planners, they say, hey, a lot of times I'm doing sort of the same part, but maybe it's just a little different, a little bigger, a little smaller. So this gives a nice way to start as a template or to save your solution, and that's really the benefit of the Cloud ID. So it's just a name and an email address. It's only to uniquely identify you. It's absolutely 100% secure. Machining Cloud is using the latest. It's a professional software company. They're using the latest in encryption and so forth. So it identifies you as you and allows you to save your tool list. So a typical use case is I'm a process planner, a CAD-CAM programmer, and I need to program this particular part. And what usually happens in the CAM area is I've got to break this down into a series of features and then machining strategies and solutions. So for the purpose of this solution, I'm going to focus on the hole on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, or the right-hand side of the part, and it gives me what it calls an advisor. So an advisor is, before I get into that, by the way, I've identified that this is 1040 steel. It has a huge, robust, over 3,000 or 4,000 materials that you can search within different systems. In this case, it's 1040 steel, AISI that I'm searching for. And what this does when you pick the workpiece material is it already speeds your search because it refines the search for tools that are best suited for this particular material that you're going to machine that day. So I've identified 1040 steel. I want to work on this hole on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, and now I go into the advisor. So the advisor is, I know what feature I want to make. Help me make it. So this is obviously a hole making operation, and it has a bunch of preloaded templates, a really robust library of preloaded templates. I pick the through hole, and now it only requires 3 pieces of information to give the most productive solution available from Kennametal today. In this case, it's preloaded that it's a P2 machinability because I've told it it's 1040 steel. Now I'll tell it's a 9mm hole. I can input in metric or inch here. I'm going to input in metric, so +3 -0, and the overall depth is 50 millimeters. Now the other thing that it allows me to do is it allows me to add additional things about the operation to further refine it. So I can optionally tell it, what I'm going to tell it is about the 10-degree angle on the face of the workpiece. And it gives me the options to refine my output. So if I want only intrametric output, in this case I'll go with metric. And if I want solid or indexable tools, fine. I'm going to run it wide open for my choice of metric tools. Now when I hit this, here's the second thing that really separates NOVO from other selection type softwares. It goes into the machining strategy. So this is something that allows a process planner, a CAM programmer, to identify the strategy that they're most comfortable based on their operating environment, machine experience, and so forth. And it also educates them about other options, machining strategies that could be available. So typically process planners get into a mode like we all do of tribal knowledge, do what I do. And it's only because it's a bit tedious to explore other options, but in this case, it gave him another option he might not have considered. Now, I think the option that I'm most familiar with is just the drilling operation. So I picked that strategy, which again is very closely connected to how a CAM process planner thinks. And now it's going through the database of 55,000 standard Kennametal tools live from the cloud. So this is coming live from Kennametal's business system. So if there's something better tomorrow, it's going to be updated. And it gives the best, most productive solution available in Kennametal based on a powerful rules engine, which is like having a tooling application engineer sitting by your side. A couple things you'll notice, though, that's really unique. not only does it give you the best solution, but it allows you to view alternate solutions. So maybe you know that replaceable tip drill is the most productive, cost-effective solution, but you also know you only have solid carbide drills in your inventory. You can check for that particular solid carbide drill and compare it versus the other solution that it's recommended. The other thing that really makes NOVO powerful is that it isn't just giving a tool to drill that hole. It's giving a multi-tool sequence. So it's giving a roughing and a finishing operation. In fact, in this case, it's two roughing operations, right? It's identified you have challenging preconditions. One is you have a long L to D ratio, which means that you have to use a pre-center drill. So this is one of these tips that a cutting tool expert knows, or it's back on page 4,000 of our catalog. But it's not something that necessarily a CAD-CAM programmer is thinking about when doing this. And it's recognized that it has that 10-degree angle on the face, so it says, hey, you better deal with that angle by spot facing it first, so you can have a clean entry for your drill. So this is something that not only does it give you the most productive tooling solution for a single operation, but NOVO identifies according to your operation what the best three-tool sequence is, or the best roughing and finishing. So it's really going a step ahead in identifying not only the machining strategy, but the tooling sequence to do. So now I got this great solution, and now I can just save it to my job. And by saving it to the job, this gives me a lot of power in how to share the job with the rest of the folks in my shop. Now, why would I want to do this? Well, first and foremost, typically shops are broken into engineering areas and purchasing areas. So as a CAD-CAM programmer or a manufacturing engineer, I'm typically not enabled to purchase, but I need an easy way to share to make my purchasing agent's job easy, or my distributor. So if I go into the job here and I can just say send job to either my purchasing agent or my distributor, now they have the tool list, and I can say, hey, order me 3 each of these tools. And once they have this tool list, they can go in and add it to their cart, go in and order the tools very easy with a direct connection to their Kennametal Connect account. The other situation is once you get into the job, you may want to share it with one of your engineering buddies and say, hey, remember that part we were working on? We were talking at lunch. Man, I found a great solution for the hole on the right-hand side of the thing. Check out operation number 4. So it's a very powerful collaboration. You also might send it to the local distributor or Kennametal application engineer and say, hey, what do you think? This is what I'm thinking. They can easily share it. And the cool thing is when you share the job, it pops up in the other guy's tool list. So he has a copy of the job in his list, and you retain a copy of the job in your list. So it's very, very powerful in collaboration. The other thing it allows you to do is to download a report. So the report is such that think of it as kind of an analog way to share the job. So you have a couple challenges when you're working in CAD-CAM. One is getting the data into your system. So having an Excel spreadsheet is very, very helpful for copy and pasting into things. The other thing is, how do I share a job, or how do I communicate this job to maybe a guy on the floor who's not sitting behind a computer all day long? So what you'll see in a minute is it's generating an Excel report. It's got an overview sheet on the front, which lists all the tool assemblies that you have for that particular operation, or for that particular job. And it's also giving an individual sheet on each operation in that particular job. Now, if you give me a second here, I apologize for the delay. My Excel seems to be running a bit slow. So as you see here, it's got an overview page, each of the operations I've selected for this particular thing, all the material masters, all the grades, and each particular assembly that I've selected. So one of the big headache points is searching for spare parts. This one's got the complete picture of the assembly, the holder, the spare parts, the cutter, all the 2D dimensional information, as well as the feed and speed information in here. So it's very, very handy for sharing in an analog way. Next thing you can do in NOVO, once you've got your job here, is you can open up an individual. You can open up an individual tool. You can open up an individual tool assembly. So let's say I go into my tool list and I picked this particular tool for this operation. Spot face there. I can open it up, and now I can do some important things with this. I need to adapt it to the machine I'm going to use it on. So here I've got an HSK 50 holder on this particular assembly. What I can do is let's say I decide I need to use that on my KM machine. I can remove that, and now I can easily go back into this tool cutter and add an adapter. Now, all of our items in NOVO are mapped with fits with and works with conventions. So as you know, there's things that fit together but don't work together, like a Weldon shank and a hydraulic chuck. But this really error-proofs your selection of the holder, as well as speeds it up, because instead of going into a 1,000-page systems book, now you've got only the holders that are guaranteed to fit and work with this particular holder. You can pick on one. If it's not something that you stock, you can check to see if it's available at your local Kennametal warehouse, which is also very handy. This one's in Cleveland, so I'm going to add it to my assembly. And for the CADCAM programmer, not only is this very convenient for changing which machine you want to use on to do the programming, but it gives him the 3D assembly model to do the simulation and programming. This is really what he needs. So he can download the model into a standard step file. He can use this is a live model he can use for programming, and he can go in and he can play with the feeds and speeds to dynamically play with the feeds and speeds to feed into his system, and it'll be saved with this particular tool assembly. So it's very powerful for the CAD/CAM programmer as far as programming the machine, getting the data, getting the models, and also switching the process as you move downstream. So I'm just going to show you a couple other features of NOVO, then I'm going to open up for questions. It does also have a quick search function, so a Google-type search, a Boolean search, if you will. So I could search for Go Drill. If I know a name of a product line, I can search for that. Or if I have a material master, say maybe I have a material master in my tool crib and I don't remember what the feed and speeds are as recommended by Kennametal. I could easily type a material master in here, go in, open that particular material master up, add it to my job, and then go in and easily check the feeds and speeds for the particular material I've got to drill that day. The other thing that you can do with NOVO, which is pretty cool, is you can search by electronic, it's kind of an electronic catalog on steroids. So you go into the search by family, and you could go into the milling tools, or go into the hole-making tools perhaps. And I've already got it filtered on P2, which is the original material in my workpiece. But let's say I say, I know I want it to work in P2, but I also do a lot of titanium drilling. So I want only drills that work in P2 and in titanium drilling. So now I click on the high temp alloys and P2. It stacks the restrictions on top of each other. Now I'm down to the set of tools that work for those two particular materials. I can put in my cutting diameter. Typical, put in 1/4 inch. So put in a 1/4 inch drill. Put in my depth of cut. I'll go with this one here, inch and a quarter. And now I've gone in 3 clicks. I found the one drill in Kennametal's portfolio which will work in both steel or both high temp alloys and P2. It's a 1/4 inch and can drill 1.3 inches deep. So it's pretty effective in that way. The other thing you could the other kind of use case is maybe you got a job to do tomorrow, so you might just want to look for, and you don't have a drill in stock. You could look for all the, say, the 1/4 inch diameter drills within Kennametal. That can drill P2 and high temp alloys. And now you could easily go down, so you're down to about 10, 12 of these drills. You can easily go in and find which one might be in stock in Cleveland and add it to your cart, order it, or call your local distributor and order it. So in the last 20 minutes or so, hopefully I've showed you what makes NOVO different from a lot of the other products on the market. It's cloud enabled, which means the data is live from Kennametal, always up to date, always the most latest and greatest solutions from Kennametal. You have live inventory checking, easy connection to the purchasing system to make it life easy for the guy picking the tools as well as ordering the tools. Certainly, the job functionality is very, very powerful for collaboration. And we've also got the live assembly building, getting the models and data to program your parts. And it's just a lot of power in the new PC and tablet application from the NOVO program. I will tell you, this is just the beginning. We have integrations with CAM systems coming, integrations with tool management systems. So I hope you're as excited about how we're trying to change the way work gets done. And I'd like to open it up to any questions to anybody on the phone.
Hey, Chris?
Yes.
I had trouble with my video all the way throughout the webinar.
I saw you coming in and coming out.
Yeah, I don't know if I was the only one. I was the only... I understood what you were saying. I just couldn't. A lot of stuff I missed because I couldn't see the video.
Yeah, what I'll do when I send out the follow-up, we do have a recorded. I am recording this version, and I recorded a past version. So I'll send you a link to the past version of one of my sessions. How's that?
That'd be perfect.
It's on YouTube. I appreciate you sticking with me, man. I saw you coming in and coming out. I thought when you first went out, I thought, oh boy, man, I must not be on today. I lost a guy in 3 minutes.
I didn't want to interrupt you, man. You were on a roll.
Thanks. Did you learn a little bit?
I did. I downloaded it to my computer and I played with it a little bit. But it's always helpful to watch the way you navigate because you learn a little bit each time.
Yeah. Now, what was driving you to download? What are you looking to do with it, Darren?
Well, I actually just accepted a position for Kennametal as an applications engineer in
welcome,
South Carolina.
Good. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. I just wanted to educate myself on NOVO.
Good.
Tool.
Super. Anybody else out there with any questions? Okay. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for taking part of the NOVO revolution here, digital transformation at Kennametal. Wish you and your families a great weekend. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to access the new NOVO community site. You'll find a link for that at www.kennametal.com/NOVO. It's a live user forum, users helping users. It's also supported by the development team and the machining cloud. It's very, very user-friendly for asking questions. Think of it as like an Apple support community, or contact our customer application support team. They're 24 hours a day to help you out. So have a great weekend. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hey, thank you.